Good morning, good night, good afternoon, you beautiful, gorgeous patriots fighting for freedom, and especially our vets, past, present, and future. One of the things, and let me just say, I'll put a link down here. I was watching some Tim Pool this morning, and it got me thinking to some of the things I want to say loudly in my own opinion. And I think that one of the biggest wars socially in the United States we're fighting right now, possibly economically and religiously, are the two religions. And you have the left religion of they fight for, today and tomorrow change. And then you have the right religion, which fights for today and try to hold up the values of the Constitution and Bill of Rights. And yes, I think they are both religions. And the problem with a religion is if you're in your congregation, and this guy Jesse Kelly that's on here, I'm stealing it from him, you'll probably hear it if I play it, is if somebody stood up in the middle of the congregation and said, I don't think the Seventh Amendment works, or Seventh Commandment works for me, pardon that, I think we should change it, probably everybody would just sort of like turn and look at this individual like, you need to be out of here, that's not what we're about. And I don't know if necessarily you can add a new commandment to make it 11. But I want to go to Tim Pool real quick. And it was kind of based on an Elon Musk tweet response from Eve 6, which is kind of nice. And, stop. That was my dog. I have a dog. But you'll see up here, Twitter is being fair when extremists on the far right and far left are simultaneously upset. And that could be, hashtag truth there, right? Twitter aims to serve center. 80% of the people who wish to learn, laugh, and engage in reasonable debate. And if you must know, I think Twitter would be at its most powerful if the truth comes out either right on the first shot of the first tweet, or it bubbles up from all the comments that can sort of weigh in and, get to the truth. That would be probably the most perfect Twitter you could have. But we have these wars of labeling people and the two religion. Now, Eve 6, and you'll see that they all agree that it's well written. People on the right are holding you. This is an answer to Elon Musk, so he's directly sending this to Elon. People on the right are holding you to your free speech absolutist position, which has obviously turned out to be fake. And that's in reference probably to banning Ye with one of his tweets that he put up a graphic. And I won't say what it was, but you probably already know. And people on the left are mad at you because you're a union-busting billionaire centrist, which is the most annoying kind of right-winger. So let's listen in on what these people are talking about.
Exemplifying everything the enlightened centrist people have been saying. It's like, dude, most of the people who are like center left or whatever have said this. Yeah, there's some views I have that are probably a little left leaning and some that are a little right leaning. And then the left immediately says, right wingers. And you're like,
he's absolutely true there. Because if you do not lean left and beyond to the galaxy of far, 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 far left, they just automatically say you're a right winger, which is untrue because I'm pretty much a centrist myself.
Like, okay, I guess. He just said it right there. Okay, there you go. A centrist is a right winger. That's what he said.
Well, it's because they don't, like when we think about the political.
Now, forgive me, I believe this is Jesse Kelly. If I got that wrong, I'm sorry. I really like the way he explains things.
Spectrum. We often think about this line, if you believe this, you're more to the left, or you drift more this way, or right. And they don't look at it that way because this is not political for them. This is religious for them. It is a religion. And if you're let's say you're a devout Christian, are you allowed to just, hey, you know what? Those 10 commandments, love them a lot. Number 8's going to have to go, though. That's not going to work
7.
for me. No, immediately that is, well, no, that's wrong. What do you're standing against our religion. What are you talking about? That's
And what I think he's saying is if you're not open-minded, you can't do this religiously. You have to keep your religion inside, your bubble and practice it and not harm anybody by it. But you can't run the country or company religiously and keep some of the good work outside that bubble. I believe that's where he's going with it.
Part of the religion. That's why they're so strict with their people, because it's not a political ideology. They worship it. It very much is a political, a religion for these people.
Think about this. There was a great point I read on Twitter. I can't remember who said it. When Roe v. Wade gets overturned and the Republicans immediately start scrubbing abortion, pro-life issues from their websites, the question arises, do you actually believe in being pro-life? Because
Tim is 100% on right here, because the GOP has no balls. They always rely on the Constitution and Bill of Rights, and that parents at home are teaching their children that. And that is wrong, because platforms that run what I'm doing right now, or over at Facebook and YouTube, man, algorithms just mess with stuff there. I'm probably going to get taken down for that. But he's 100% right. GOP has not stood up and at least owned it and fight for the Bill of Rights and Constitution, and they're failing us.
If you're going to hide and not show anybody that, it was clearly never an issue you actually cared about. You don't actually believe these things.
Could be right.
Some of these religions, I think, deserve reformation. Like, some of them were built a couple thousand years ago when it was okay to beat women, or it was okay, like pork was dangerous to eat because you might get trichinosis from dirt.
You're going to find Ian has slightly a point here. I don't like to bash him or praise him. I don't know what to make of Ian. I do like him. And I should say I don't know what to make of his role on the show. Everybody has their opinion. But I usually fall to or err to the side of maybe, whether it's the guests or Tim Pool himself, he's kind of an opposite conscience, whether it's good or bad, because some of his stuff is a little far reached out there. But some of his stuff is truly heartfelt. And I probably like 51% of the stuff he says, maybe even more. But I do believe he's when you hear him go off a little bit on this, you'll see what I mean.
Dirty blood. Like, now we have good sanitation. So, like, decadence, for instance, in Islam, it's looked way down upon in Islam. But the reality is, it's okay to be decadent if you're charitable. Like, have a beautiful life, have wonderful things if you're willing to be charitable with your funds. I think Islam could benefit. I think a lot of Muslims would love to not feel guilt about living in luxury, because it's a natural.
He's talking outside of religion, like I said in the beginning. The two religions, the 18,000 religions, can't run countries. That is a whole separate ideal. It's morals, Bill of Rights, and Constitution, and rules to engage in living the right way to protect others and yourself. You can't make that a religion. That has to be concrete and full of foundation.
Natural part of affluence, and that comes with, the beauty of God.
I don't want to. I'm not trying to be mean, Ian, but I think we're not having the same conversation.
We might be having a similar. Well, you were saying how leftists are treating this like a religion, and saying just because you take out the eighth of the 10 Commandments, I think sometimes it's okay for religions to ebb and flow and change with the times.
Yeah, but they're not interested in that. I'm trying to classify what we're up against. They're not interested in changing with the times. Now, the only thing they will change is they have to find different malcontents. This is what people don't understand about communism, and why people, you're crazy, they're not communists.
Right.
One, most of the prominent people in the Democrat Party openly call themselves socialists now anyway. I don't know why people think I'm nuts for saying that. Two, communism is not some workers thing. Communism in the Soviet Union looked drastically different than it did in China. Why? Because you had different malcontents. In the Soviet Union, you had the urban poor, so they appealed to the urban poor.
Correct.
So when you had the Soviet communists trying to put it in China, they were yelling at people like Mao, saying, focus on the urban poor. And Mao said, you're a freaking idiot. We don't have malcontented urban poor. We have malcontented rural poor.
Boom. I mean, in my opinion, he's spot on. And just to let you know, if you read this that I put up, what they did was they couldn't figure out how to beat us and get communism and socialism in here. And for decades, since the 30s, we've been infiltrated, whether it was government or local, we've been infiltrated by communists. And they want forever our constitutional amendments, Constitution, Bill of Rights. They want that destroyed because it's one of the greatest countries for 250, 300 years. And we're surrounded by what our country's not about. So they figured out that the only way they can get us is to get into our religious beliefs and labels, whether it's black, white, racism, if you're gay, lesbian, trans, all that, if they get us to fight each other over that and politicize all that, feminism, all that, then they win. Because right now, we're probably the most dysfunctional we've ever been. And there are many patriots like myself, and I'm a little voice, but many of us are just trying so hard to scratch at the GOP growing a pair of balls and saving the United States. All right? They have to. The left won't do that. The left has future plans for what they want us to be in the future. And if the GOP is all they say they're going to be, they got to stand up for us.
Here,
Right.
we have to change it there. Then it looked different in Cambodia. In America, it looks radically different there because we didn't have those urban poor or rural poor. We had different malcontents here. That's why they focused on the feminists. That's why they focused on the climate change nutters, the LGBTQ Air Force guys. That's why they got infiltrated the civil rights movement. You have to find society's malcontents because society is a rock. And when you find the malcontents, what you're doing is you're finding the cracks in the rock, you're filling it and freezing it. That's what communism is.
Divide and conquer.
That's exactly
and that's
right.
exactly what they're doing. That's why the family unit is one of the key things that they're trying to destroy, that they're trying to prevent people from having, because if they have a strong family unit, they won't be able to worship the state. And personally, if you believe in a parks department, I believe you're a communist. It doesn't take much for me. I think all of the people out there's a lot of communists out there because they believe in the common good, and a lot of this is just lunacy. I mean, hey, I got to speak my truths here.
All right, that's good enough. I'm going to leave the comment down there for you, so you get an idea. Watch the whole thing, but I needed to get this out to you to still grab your attention from what all the other news is. I hope you like, subscribe, share to me. Kiss, hug a veteran. Make sure you check in with Gretchen over at Code of Vets on Twitter, at Code of Vets, and of course my love to Lee and Dave for all they do in the cat rooms. And I will see you hopefully on the other side, maybe tomorrow, or I might have something really cool coming up later. But for now, give each other a hug.